Hello, Steph. It's good to have you with us. I think the interesting thing about you is that you must be one of the only people who spent lockdown actually in church.
Yes.
Yeah,
Probably does make me a bit odd.
but we don't want people getting the wrong impression you've slung a sleeping bag on an uncomfortable pew. You actually live in Cars Lane Church and you're part of the Cars Lane lived community.
Yes. So I don't sleep behind the altar. We have a flat within the building. I do have a bed. And we live, here in Cars Lane Church, right in the middle of Birmingham city centre.
You say we? How many people does that include?
Well, at the moment, there's only 2 of us living here. Well, 3, but one's been away during lockdown. So, 2 of us, empty building.
Now, that must have been really strange for you because a city centre church, I know Cars Lane is always busy.
Yeah, it was very, very strange. When we started heading into lockdown, which I did face with a bit of a sense of trepidation, because yes, the building is always busy, there's people coming and going, the flat is always busy, we rarely go 2 or 3 days without visitors to our home. The city centre is always busy, there's buses and there's noise and there's hustle and bustle, and almost overnight it stopped and it was all gone. And it was a really interesting reminder, I guess, that all the busyness here is really transitory. People come, but people also go. So all of the model of church and community that we're living, there is something about having the community that live together in the church, but a lot of what's developed and a lot of what we've learned about community in this context is it's not just about that stable bit of the community. It's much more about people come, they take part, they engage at whatever level and in whatever ways and for different lengths of time, and they pass through. We're a mirror, in a sense, of the context in which we exist, because the same is true of the city centre and the same is true of, to some extent, the building of Cars Lane Church. So it was a reminder that once you take away all that coming and going, all that passing through, all the people coming in and going out, there's very few people left actually here.
Mm-hmm. You've taken advantage of the fact that the building has been empty. You've been having a bit of fun, haven't you?
I mean, yes. Well, we've got to make the most of it. If you can't go out, then being in a big space, I'm aware of the huge privilege we have of being in a big space. I know plenty of people who that's not their experience, but we've also decorated, not in a permanent, repainting the walls kind of way, but we've, I hope, livened up in a positive way the front doors and windows. So we've written, we hold on to hope, and there's a rainbow, because rainbows became obviously the symbol of lockdown to a great extent. And I think it was also from wanting to remind people that the church is still here, still alive, because the churches have never been shut in my eyes. I know a lot of the buildings have been, and ours only hasn't because we're lucky enough to live here, but it was a way of sharing that message too, I guess, in a way.
And that's on the main doorway out onto Moore Street. So
Yes.
If there are people passing by, they would be passing by there.
Yeah, so even at the point where very few people were passing by, that's the most visible part. And we also have a notice board on the sign, so anyone who was queuing for Marks and Spencer's, because obviously their food part was open, could see the messages that we were putting up there that were things like hold on to hope, or faith, hope and love, those kinds of messages.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure that's a very powerful thought to share with people through this difficult time. But what I didn't quite understand was why you decided to put artwork on the roof.
Again, partly just for fun, really. So, and it's all chalk, so it was always going to wash away. You never know, maybe the police helicopter flying overhead might have seen our Be Happy message, and all will be well. Sorry for the terrible pun. And it might have brought a smile to their faces. I like to think so.
Yes, why not? Why not? You never know, actually, when you put a message out, who is going to see it and whose heart it's going to touch.
And you're often, I think nowadays, you're never just producing things for people who see them live. I mean, we've all learned this a lot during lockdown, but even prior to that, often when you're putting a message out, you're also putting on your website or your Facebook page, and it's going somewhere else, and you never know actually where that image has gone to, or who might have seen it, or how, or where.